"What do you want the next 12 months to look like?" he asked me after I had just surrendered to federal prison. And I said, "I don't really know what you mean. I just got here. I don't understand the question." And he said, "Well, do you want the next 12 months to be productive, or do you want to be the walking dead?" And I said, explain to me what you mean." And he asked me, what have the prior 3 years been like before I went to prison? And as many of you know through reading my book, Lessons from Prison, I made terrible decisions, lied to lawyers, ate poorly. I was essentially in jail for 3.5 years. When people make fun of or knock my 18-month prison sentence, I frequently remind them it wasn't 18 months I served, but rather 5 years, if you include the 3.5 years before I went away, which was difficult. So he was asking me this because my friend wanted the next 12 months to be more productive. He wanted me to use that time wisely, which can be hard in struggle when you've lost everything and you're embarrassed and ashamed. But it was a very good experience for me, and it really propelled me to have a productive term. And I'm sharing this because earlier today, I went for a nice long run along this river in Spokane, Washington. I'm here for the day lecturing on ethics and white-collar crime. And a client drove in from, I think, Pullman, Washington type area. We just began working together. And this client, he told me, used to be an avid runner. But after he caught his case, he stopped running, he put on some weight, just began making bad decisions, neglecting his health and family, and so on. Essentially, he was living like a dead man, hardly functioning. And he called me after reading something I said, where I said, if you're going to struggle through the criminal justice system, do not let it be a life sentence. And he called and he's like, I don't want this to be a life sentence. I don't even know if I'm going to go to prison or for how long it will be, but they're winning. The government is beating me. I don't want this to be a life sentence, but I cannot take control. I cannot take action. I lay in bed all day thinking about bad decisions that I made. And of course, that's what I did for 3.5 years before I went to prison. So he visited me today. We went for a run, totally unprepared for the run. It's chilly. It was a little cold, but it was a great chance for him to become active and for me to share lessons I had learned with him, lessons that I want to convey to all of you. So whether you're going through the criminal justice system or you are just going through tough times, it's easy to feel like we're practically dead, unable to function. It can be tough to make productive and tough choices. And I feel like just short run today was an incremental step for my client in the right direction. The way that he felt when it was over. He said, I remember being a runner. This is why I did it. I haven't done this for so long. Now let me transition and close with a story. Many people knock my 18 months in federal prison, say it was too short, not long enough. The consequence wasn't great enough. As a result of a lot of press our company has had this year from Dr. Phil and Washington Post and others, people will say, he only served 18 months, what a joke. It was a piece of cake. And so I'll say to you, if you think my sentence was too short, and if you don't think I'm in a position to teach, or if you don't think I've overcome enough as a result of my own felony conviction that resulted from bad choices that I made, let me point you to my business partner and friend I met in federal prison. If he can overcome and create something and live a productive life through struggle, perhaps you can if you don't identify with the short-term white-collar defendant who served a measly 18 months in a minimum security camp. My friend went to prison at 23 for bad decisions he made while selling drugs. And as a result of those bad decisions, he was sentenced to 45 years in prison. And while in prison, didn't complain, didn't lament over the unfairness of the criminal justice system, didn't blame anyone but himself, but he wanted to create a productive record. He wanted to build a new record where people can judge him, not based on bad decisions he had made in the past, but who he wanted to become moving forward. And rather than talk about it, or happy talk, he likes to say, or play lip service to it, he took action, and he began educating himself. And that education resulted in an undergraduate and master's degree from prison. Then he began writing unsolicited letters to people all across the country with the goal that they would become a mentor for him. And of course, many responded, including distinguished professors like Joan Petersilia from Stanford, who recently passed away, and others, writing thousands of words, hoping they would come into his network, demonstrating what he was learning through confinement and how he could be of value. And after that education and the network and mentors that he grew, he began publishing and writing books, including Inside Life Behind Bars in America, one of the best prison books of all time. He wrote it from Lompoc. It chronicled his experience in the penitentiary in Atlanta. Of course, the gentleman with whom I'm referring to is my colleague and mentor, Michael Santos, who conquered 26 consecutive years in prison. He wasn't dead during that time. He didn't loathe and blame others. He took action. He lived philosophy, ethics, his network, taking action. And that's how I'll close, and what I want all of you to embrace. If you're a white-collar defendant who feels like you're already in prison, who is afraid that this is going to turn out to be a lifelong stain or sanction or lifelong stain on your family, think about every choice and every action that you make. When you're at home, are you watching TV and wasting time? Could you be reading a book or listening to a podcast? When you're at the airport, for example, are you sitting there loathing, or are you walking around, listening to a podcast, reading a book, making a cold call, growing your network? Of course, all of you know I'm a heavy proponent of working in advance of sentencing because it helps you create a new record. So that's how I'll close from a beautiful day in Spokane, Washington before I lecture. If my measly 18 months and what I've accomplished doesn't impress you, because I was a short timer, totally get it, totally cool. I just want you to be successful. I want you to have a productive experience. And if my business partner, Michael Santos, can master and live productively through 26 consecutive years in prison and find the will to wake on days where he knew he had a long road in front of him, perhaps his story and the skill set that he developed will compel you to work on days you may not want to. And I wish you all well. If you find value in this video, please subscribe and like it. And I look forward to returning to Los Angeles to continue to produce content that will help all of you traversing the criminal justice system. Thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye.